Hello everyone, and welcome to my channel. This video is going to be a review on this book, The Writings of Florence Scovel Shinn, and this book contains 4 of Florence Scovel Shinn's books. So, the first one is her first book, The Game of Life and How to Play It, which was published in 1925. The second one is Your Word is Your Wand, which was published in 1928. The third is The Power of the Spoken Word, which was published 1945, and The Secret Door of Success, which was published in 1940. So one of her writings was compiled by her students after her death because she lived between 1871 and 1940. So Florence Scovel Shinn, she was a New Thought teacher. She was also a visual artist / illustrator, which is why I connected with her, because I am an illustrator. She attended, she attended the Pennsylvania Academy of Arts, and that's where she met her husband, Everett Shinn, who is also an artist. They divorced in 1912. So Florence Scovel Shinn had a lot of people that followed her, and her influence still continues to this day. Louise Hay was also influenced by Florence Scovel Shinn, and Hay House published in 2013 a book called The Magic Path of Intuition, which I haven't read yet, so I don't know if it's some of her writings from in here and they changed the title, or if it's completely new work. I haven't read it yet. So I love this book because I must have read this book at least 5 times or more. My actual copy is beat up somewhere in my house, so I had to get a new one. Florence Scovel Shinn's writing style is very friendly. So if you're familiar with other works of her time period that had to deal with New Thought, they would probably sound slightly scientific, and the language would maybe be difficult to wrap your mind around. So one example of that would be Emma Curtis Hopkins. I don't think she was around the time, or maybe a little bit before the time, but Emma Curtis Hopkins, she was under Mary Baker Eddy, and she broke off and she became the teacher of teachers. So when you read her writings, it's very flowery, it's very sophisticated, and you cannot just read it one time, you have to read it multiple times. But the same goes with Florence Scovel Shinn. You have to read it multiple times, because sometimes when you read something and the language is simplistic, it's beautiful, but it's very easy to understand. Some people don't take it seriously. I believe she was very in-depth with her studies of metaphysics, but she broke it down for the reader so they could just apply it to their life easily without having to go through all of this grueling work and years and years and years of training. So if you are not very religious, or if you just don't believe in law of attraction and stuff, this book may or may not be for you. Because, no, if you're not religious, because Florence Scovel Shinn's examples are based primarily in the Bible. So she uses a lot of biblical examples, especially the teachings of Jesus. So throughout the book, you will see verses and passages from the scriptures that she uses to emphasize her point. She also uses examples of clients that she's worked with, and she shares their stories and how they did it. So, for example, with one woman, her husband left her. He went to go with other women. So for a year, she prepared a table as if her husband was coming back. He said, I don't want to ever speak to you again. And he walked out. And then a year later, he walked through the door again. And I thought that was kind of cool. So I actually used that example, and it worked for me. Well, that was with my ex, but it worked. Another example she used is of a woman losing her silver pencil. And the woman was very upset about losing her silver pencil. But then she ended up getting a golden pencil, because one of the things that Florence Scovel Shinn emphasized is that if you do not receive what you want, you will either receive its equivalent or something better. So the silver pencil was not good enough for this woman, so she received a golden pencil. And sometimes you'll receive exactly what you want, but it was not for you. So she talks about having your divine right. What is divinely meant for you will not flee away from you. It will not go away from you. It will always be in your life. It will never leave you. Even if something else leaves, what you deserve is coming at you. She talks about the power of your word, how the universe will listen to your words, but it cannot tell whether you are saying it as a joke or if you actually mean it. So one example she used is of a woman that said, someday I'm on my way to the poorhouse. And this was a wealthy woman. She's like, I'm on the way to the poorhouse. I'm on the way to the poorhouse. And she ended up destitute. And now she's in the poorhouse. Another example she used is of holding on to something. You have to release. When you release, that's the power of tithing. So some people, they don't like tithing. They're like, well, this preacher's gonna steal my money and he's never gonna give it back. She's never gonna get it back. And look at the church just pimping me for my money. But the whole point of tithing is you are releasing. When you hold on to something, it'll fly away from you. When you release, you will only get more. So she speaks of a woman that had lots and lots of jewelry. And she didn't wear them, she didn't use them. She just kept them in little bags. And the woman's hands, she lost the ability to use her hands and arms, and she basically became paralyzed. And all of her jewelry was given away and sold away to other people. She didn't use it. So Florence Scovel Shinn, when she wrote all of these things, she basically repeats herself. So if you read one book, you've basically read them all, but they're different each one has their own little unique quality, but the whole theme is the same. Your Word is Your Wand is the most different out of all of the books because she uses affirmations. So basically, Your Word is Your Wand is mostly affirmations. It starts off with a small essay about the subject matter, so like success, and she writes a small essay about success, and then she gives you affirmations related to that subject. She does the same for health. Wrote a brief essay and all these affirmations for health, but she narrowed it down to different parts of your body. So she has affirmations for your eyes, she has affirmations for your anemia, and I believe Louise Hay was influenced by that because in one of her books she has a malady, the emotional cause of the malady, and an affirmation to help heal the malady. So the same goes for this. I don't know what else more to say. If I had to recommend which book to read first out of all 4 of these books, you definitely want to read The Game of Life and How to Play It, because it is the framework for all of the other books. And if you don't mind listening to scriptures as you are reading, then go ahead and read this book. If you do mind, then you probably want to avoid Florence Scovel Shinn, and you probably want to avoid Emma Curtis Hopkins, and maybe go for like As a Man Thinketh or something. So thank you for watching this video. I will have more videos coming in the future. Bye bye, and happy reading.